Hannibal D. Mayan. And today, for the Middle Earth Wanderers podcast, we're going to be going over dang it, what was I? Right, I apologize. I'm quite sick, but I'm here for this episode. We're going to upgrade a couple things while I gather my thoughts. So what my plan is today, we're going to go through the Red Book of Westmarch. I'm going to go ahead and head over to that. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose a commander. We're going to go through this red book on difficult mode. Now, there are recommended commanders, like Khaldun is what it's wanting me to use. However, because my Khaldun's underleveled, I may not be able to do that at this time with that character. So, instead, I think I'll go with Mouth of Sauron. Because what I would like to do is show off a build for it. So we're going to hit two birds with one stone. One, I want to show off a build with Mouth of Sauron, which is using the Fallen Knights, branching off the ability of Mouth of Sauron, where the first two rounds, allied and enemy units damage minus 75%. That being said, it extends to 3 rounds with it being maxed out, which we do have that. And he gives all kinds of extra different debuffs and stuns and all kinds of fun stuff to enemies. The Fallen Knights, in retrospect, they can stack it up to 6 times for damage upon receiving damage. So an extra 6% damage every time they receive that damage. That being said, with Mouth of Sauron's extra little benefit here, where allies and enemy units take less damage, they'll be able to stack that a little bit more in the first 3 rounds without losing a lot of those troops, and then they'll be able to smash. That is the plan. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I think I'm going after Gok because his abilities are a little more synergetic with Mouth of Sauron. Now, we could choose Rush. That'll give some extra damage, continuous. Or we could go with Allied unit with the lowest defense takes damage. Which, considering we don't do a lot of damage early game, we're going to go with Spirit Shadow of the Mist. Just because I think that'll be more effective. We're going to take this heal. Because the Fallen are going to be what's going to push us through this really hard. Now, when we look at the skills of each of these guys, the Fallen count is undead. So we don't want the Orcish Warlord skill. We don't care about the physical damage, or the enemies can't gain HP, so I'm going to probably skip that, because even Overlord deals 1 instance of damage, and then the target's next instance of damage was 45%. Alright, so what about the next one? First 3 round, Commander and Allied units, damage plus 20%. That's interesting, that might work, considering it'll negate part of Mouth of Sauron's skill set on our units, not the enemy. So the enemy will keep that negative skills. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, we have... we already have one equal to Rush, but it would be nice to have the extra heal or a stun. We could also take Army, damage from melee units, minus 14%. I think that's the more useful one to take, especially putting a heal on Mouth of Sauron. Keep those fallen from falling is essentially the idea. Oh, excuse me. Now, when we get a hireable unit here, we don't need a lot. I'm actually going to take the Oathbreakers and throw them in. That way it fills up our ranks, and then we can move on. So next, we already have one enemy we're facing, so we're just going to pick the ability from this guy. Each round, enemy units, 20% chance to inflict stun. Against enemies, that's not bad. Melee units, physical damage received, minus 14%. So our characters will not take as much damage, which is nice to stack that. I do like the idea of stunning constantly, so I think I'm just going to take the damage reduction, though. I would have taken the stun, but only 20%. Every round, not as great as I would like. I'm going to put back up our Fallen. Now the next one is Carroon again, which, with his War Chariot, the Scythes, Dragoon, and Halberders, get all these bonuses, but we don't get those bonuses with our current loadout. All allies damage dealt plus 10% for each allied evil men unit. Doesn't help us either. In Sandstorm, against 2 enemy units, apply 1 of the following debuffs: damage, minus 50%, or inflict madness. I don't think any of those are going to help me. So let's take a look at what Shadow does. We're looking at Black Numenorian, Delayed Plague, and Morgul Poison. Now, I think the best thing we can get is Delayed Plague, just because we'd be getting some extra extra poison damage off on the enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and take it, and then we're going to select in our unit. We might get rid of the Fallen Men, just so I can put in something else. I think a Mountain Troll might be more effective in this lineup. So we're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to go into Radagast because he's the only one we can fight. And we have the first 2 round ally units damage received minus 16%, which is really good. And a chance of recovering damage. I think we're going to take the Brown just because it's so much better than all the others. Because Pacifism already lines up to what we already have. And the other one, I think it was just a heal. I didn't really look at it because the Brown is so much better than all those. So we're going to go ahead and finish this one off. And then we'll be ready for round 2. I think we're doing quite well so far. So the reason we took a Mountain Troll during that and swapped out for that was just because the Mountain Troll is going to give us a little bit extra defense. Alright, so we just actually took out Mouth of Sauron, so we could take the Messenger, which we already have. Enemy units damage minus 21% might be our best, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. Because I don't know if the Messenger will stack or not, and I don't want to risk it. So we're going to go ahead and move on from there, heal up. We're going to take out the Shadow. Hopefully he has the mounted unit one. I didn't look and see which one he was giving us. So we have extra army defense. We cause some extra defense and speed negation from the target, and our allied units gain more defense and speed for 1 round, which, not bad, but not necessarily what I'm looking for. I think a permanent plus 35 defense will just make us dumb tanky. So I'm going to go for that. We're going to see what we can grab. We can grab a Ravager, which I'll add that to my lineup. Now then, we could go for Gil-galad, which elves don't help us. Allied units damage? Maybe. Allied units damage against orcs, Uruk-hai, trolls. So, that being said, let's look at that. We're facing against Uruk-hai there, we're facing against Gandalf, then we're facing against Elrond. So that ability won't help us. Let's go back into him for the next one. Lothar, Reaper, and Stalkers get extra damage. So, that doesn't help us because we don't have Reaper and Stalkers. Allied units ignore the damage. Damage ignores 35% of the target's defense. That might help us. We also see against target enemy with lowest HP deals 250% physical damage. That doesn't help us. So, I think we're going to take the armor negation if we go for that. Let's look at Gil-galad one more time. All allies damage up. Let's go for that one actually. So, we're going to take out Gil-galad. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to heal up. I particularly love this run with Mouth of Sauron just because of how, I want to say, brutal it is. I love the synergy he has with the Fallen. It's just something a lot of people don't use, but I love what it does. Now then, let's go ahead and take the bleeding because that's going to give us extra damage to the enemy. That's not necessarily negated, it's a different effect. We're going to go ahead and heal up. And we're going to face Gandalf, which he probably could end up killing us if we're not careful. Oh no, we're too far in. Alright. Now we're going to take his wizard title just because of that guaranteed stun. And we're just going to pick one of these because it doesn't matter which one we grab. And the Great Beast, Eagles, or... Okay, so I think I'm going for the Great Beast. I'm going to get rid of the Ravager. And I'm going to get rid of the Mountain Trolls because the Great Beast and the Mountain Trolls do the same thing. So I think this will be a fun little way to end it, is have the Great Beast in there. And we end it with really minimal losses. We've completely completed the challenge for hard mode. And that's one of the ways you can easy beat it. Now, my screen's going to turn black for a second.